Hey, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Two Pockets of Peace, and welcome to the Talk About It Tuesday series, where the first and third Tuesday of the month, we talk about different financial subjects. So today last week we talked about two different options of getting out of debt. So we talked about the snowball method versus the avalanche method. So comment below your preferred debt payoff method, and we can talk about it in the comments. Now let's talk about how to get rid of debt even faster. So I'm going to talk about the 4 things that my husband and I did to get out of consumer debt in under 1 year. This is going to be a 3-part series to cover these 4 tips because there's a lot to talk about with each one of them. Let's see here. These are the 4 tips. So number 1 is making a budget. 2 is decrease your expenses. 3 is increase your income, and 4 is knowing your why. So over the next 3 Tuesdays, we'll be going over each of these. I'm going to combine 2 together, but the first one today, we're going to be talking about making a budget. So this is the first one because I believe it is the most important for one's financial journey. If you're not intentional about what you do with your money, you will have a very hard time paying off debt. I'm also going to talk about the 4 different types of budgeting. It is not one size fits all. So there are different types of budgeting because one might not be best for everyone. So there are many different ways to making a budget. All right, so in today's video, we're going to talk about making a budget and then the 4 types of budgets that are the most popular. So the first is 50-30-20 budget. Then there's the pay yourself first budget, the zero-based budget, the envelope system budget, and then have the conclusion, wrap things up, and then talk about the free budget tracker that is included in the description of the video. So making a budget is simply a plan for your money. So when it comes to ways to budget your money, there are options like budgeting apps, classic pen and paper, which is what I prefer, or Excel spreadsheets. You may need to figure out your current spending habits before selecting a budget. So this will help you know what areas need more attention. Keep all receipts for 1 to 2 months, sorting them into categories like food, transportation, household, entertainment, expenses, and so forth. Or if you're not like a cash spender, you can view your checking activity online to help with understanding how you spend your money. And in the description below, there is a PDF for you of an expense tracker that will help you track your monthly expenses to get you started to figure out what budget might work best for you. All right, so after understanding your current spending patterns, consider the 4 personal budgeting ideas to find the best that might fit for you. So these most popular ways to budget, the 50-30-20 budget. So this is best for categorizing needs or wants. The pay yourself first budget, which is prioritizing savings. The zero-based budget, so tracking consistent income and expenses. And then the envelope system budget, making your spending more disciplined. All right, so this is an expense tracker. So like I said, before selecting a budget, you want to figure out your current spending. So this is what the PDF looks like. So you're just going to put down the date, the transaction, so what you bought, what category it goes into, the amount you withdrew or deposited, and then your balance. So you'll do this for every transaction, everything you buy, or income throughout the whole month. So you can get a good picture of what you're spending. So the transaction might be food. So say you went and picked up food. So the category would be like groceries, or like if you went to Walmart for groceries, then your category would be groceries or food. Or if you went to like McDonald's, restaurants could be a category. If you paid your cell phone bill, that could be under like entertainment. If you paid your electric bill, that would be under utilities. And you would just do that throughout the whole month to get an idea of your spending. Okay, so the first budget that we're going to talk about is the 50-30-20 budget. So these are in no like particular order at all. Okay, so in the 50-30-20 rule, 50% of your income goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to savings. So the needs example, so these are things in your budget that you need to pay for. So things like food, utilities, so electric, water, gas, shelter, so your mortgage or your rent, daycare, transportation, health insurance, and then the minimum payment of all debts that you might have. This will go into the needs category, which is 50% of your budget. Then 30% of your budget would go towards your wants. So wants are not needs. We can do without wants, even if it's uncomfortable. So keep that in mind when you are deciphering what is what. So wants include things like restaurants, sporting events, concert tickets, unlimited data plans, streaming services, new clothes, things like that would be under the wants category. And then the remainder, so 20% of your income or budget would go towards savings. So this covers retirement investments, emergency fund savings, and any extra debt payments above those minimum payments that you have. So that's the gist of the 50-30-20 budget. So some pros and cons of this type of budgeting. The pros is it's simple and easy to use. So you implement because it is simple. So as long as you stick to your spending targets, you can spend freely without or within each of the 3 budget categories. It also allows for flexibility. So it is a framework, not a mandate. So if your needs take up 60% of your take-home pay, you can scale back on your savings or wants, so you can make it flexible. It also incorporates balance. So some budgets can feel restrictive, like needing to allocate as much as possible towards savings and debt without acknowledging your needs and wants. So the 50-30-20 budget ensures you spend a good chunk of your income on needs and wants and make it a strategy you can stick to without feeling a sense of deprivation. So some cons of the 50-30-20 budget. The percentage guidelines don't work for everyone. So for some people, the 50-30 budget just isn't realistic, especially with today's rising costs of living. So if, for example, debt alone takes up 20% of your budget and your needs far exceed 50%, you may need to take a different approach to your budgeting. It's also not a fast track to hitting savings goals. So while wants makes this budgeting strategy more sustainable, eager savers may not reach their goals as quickly as they want. And it lacks structure. So while the 50-30-20 budget is great for those who like simple framework, others may want a little bit more structure in their budgeting. So those are some 50 or pros and cons of a 50-30-20 budgeting concept. All right, so moving on to the next budgeting concept is pay yourself first, and this is also known as reverse budgeting. So with this method, you set aside a specific amount from each paycheck from savings, spending the rest as you see fit. So an example, let's say your monthly income is $3,400. So each month you want to save $150 for your emergency fund. You want to put $200 for your retirement and $100 for a new car. So you would set that $450 aside first and then use the remaining $2,950 towards other costs. Like your housing, groceries, utility bills, debt payments, things like that. So you're saving first, you're paying yourself first before you use your money for anything else. So some pros and cons of the pay yourself first budgeting system. Pros, it is low maintenance as it doesn't require you to categorize every expense or keep detailed records of your spending. It can help you focus on the big picture and reduce impulse buying. So when you save first, you have less money to spend and tend to use the remainder on things you need or value. So that is a pro of that budgeting system. Now, some cons: prioritizing savings over other goals might not always be in your best financial interest, especially being in debt with highest interest rate, like credit cards, for example. I would recommend tackling that first before saving for vacation or a new car. All right, so those are some pros and cons of the pay yourself first budgeting system. All right, so next up is the zero-based budget. So the zero-based budget is when your income minus your expenses equals zero. So if you make $6,000 a month, everything you give, save, or spend should add up to $6,000. So every dollar that comes in has a purpose. But a zero-based budget does not mean that you have $0 in your bank account. It just means that your income minus all of your expenses equals zero. So you want to keep like a little buffer in your checking account of maybe like $100 to $500 for a buffer at the end of each month. All right, so how to make a zero-based budget. So first, you want to list your monthly income. Okay. So what counts as income? So this is going to be your regular paychecks and anything extra you plan to bring in during the month, like side hustles. Write down all of your income and add them up. And that's your monthly income. So what you've got to work with for the month is your monthly income. So in this example, it has paycheck 1 is $3,000, paycheck 2 is $3,000. So $6,000 is your monthly income. So that's where you'll start. That's what's coming in. Next, then you're going to list your expenses. So now that you know what's coming in, it's time to plan for what's going out. So think of everything you spend money on during the month. So this can include giving, saving, the 4 walls, so food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. Other essentials, so insurance, debt, childcare, extras, so entertainment, restaurants, phone bill, month-specific expenses, so like holidays and celebrations, and then a miscellaneous category for anything that pops up unexpectedly. So you're going to list out all of your expenses and then how much they are for each month. So this is where that expense tracker comes in handy, so you can kind of see what all's coming or going out or you're spending money on throughout the month. So you can do your budget this way. Then you're going to subtract your expenses from your income to equal zero. So when you subtract all those expenses from your income, it should equal zero. If you don't hit zero at first, that's okay, as it can take up to 3 months of practice to get it together, get it y'all evened out. So if you have money left over, you want to put that money wherever you choose to, whether it's savings, paying off debt, or spending. But what if you do not have money left over? If you subtract your planned expenses and end up with a negative number, this means you are spending more than you are making. So you would need to trim your budget or increase your income or both. And we're going to talk about both of those, so increasing your income and decreasing your spending in the next Talk About It Tuesday video. So on the 3rd of the month, or 3rd Tuesday of the month. So definitely tune back in for those two areas of budgeting. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you're tracking your expenses all month long. So you can't just set up a budget and leave it. You need to track every transaction. That means any money that comes in or goes out gets put into the right budget line. And let's see here. So this here is just an example of a simple zero-based budget. So you have the income and then your expenses listed, and they're going to match at the end of the month. So $6,000 coming in, $6,000 going out. Now, some pros and cons of the zero-based budgeting. The pros are it really helps you trim your spending. So every dollar serves a purpose. So that's also going to maximize your efficiency of budgeting, and it promotes focus around short and long-term financial goals. Now, some cons of this budgeting system is that it is time consuming. So it can require a lot of preparation and maintenance each month. It can also be challenging to account for variable expenses. So things like food, gas, things like that are going to be changing each month. As compared to fixed expenses like maybe your utility bill or your phone bill, which are the same probably every month. And it might not be great strategy for those with a fluctuating income. So if you don't have, or if you have variable income that is not the same every month coming in, that might be a little bit more challenging for you to do the zero-based budget. Not impossible. You can still do it. It'll just be a little bit different in how you set it up. All right, now we're going to talk about the last budgeting system, which is the envelope system, which is also known as cash stuffing. This budgeting method is similar to the zero-based budget, but with one big difference because you do it all with cash. So you plan how to spend your money each month and fill an envelope with the allocated cash for each category. So an example, when you go grocery shopping, you're going to take your grocery envelope and pay for those items with the cash that's in the envelope. If you run out of cash before the end of the month, that's all you can spend out of that category for the month. So it's you spend what you have, and when you don't have it, you don't buy it. So that is the cash stuffing or envelope system. So some pros and cons of this system is the envelope system keeps you on track. It enforces discipline. It holds you accountable, and it makes it hard to overspend. So if you don't have the money there, you cannot spend it. So it's really good in that way. Some cons is you have to go to the bank and get cash out. So that could be, multiple trips to the bank each time that you get paid. And then another con is that you're carrying a lot of cash around, and that might make you feel uncomfortable. So that might not work for you as well, or either. All right, so as a recap, the four budgeting methods that I talked about today, the first was the 50-30-20 budget. So this is best for categorizing needs over wants. The pay yourself first budget, so you're prioritizing savings over everything else. The zero-based budget, which is tracking consistent income and expenses every month. And then the envelope system, or cash stuffing, it's also known as, is making your spending more disciplined. So those are the four budgeting methods that we talked about today. All right, so in conclusion, even if you pick the right financial budget, it can take a few months to get used to the system, especially if you are new to budgeting. But like any habit, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Consider your goals and why you want to achieve them, and doing this can help maintain your motivation to keep fine-tuning your budgeting skills each month. So thank you everyone for watching today. Comment below if you have a budgeting system that you use, and what budgeting system that you prefer. And if you're new to the budgeting systems, what one looks the most appealing to you that you'll do some more research on. So thanks so much for watching, and down below in the description, there is a PDF of an expense tracker that you can use to start setting up your budgeting system. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to my channel to get notifications to each of the Talk About It Tuesday notifications. And I will see you on the next Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month. And we will be talking about increasing your income and decreasing your expenses in your debt-free journey. Until then, bye.